at US Integration Office, FAA. Ritesh has been actively supporting FAA, US industry, ANSI, and NASA, and he is the custodian of ANSI US standardization roadmap. Ritesh has been supporting various US programs like Boeing MQ-25 and CAMAX as the US integration lead. He's also involved in the certification of US programs from Boeing, General Atomics, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Google, Titan, and so on. Ritesh is the recipient of many awards, including ANSY's 2020-2021 Leadership and Service Awards in the Meritorious Service Award category. Great to have you here, Ritesh, with us. Over to you to talk about ANSI certification program.
Are actively supporting standards development activities to support production of globally harmonized standards. Okay, how do I, just a second here, please stand by. Okay, how do I, okay, so the next slide here. So this slide shows the condensed information in one page of the 412 pages long version 2 roadmap about ANSI UAS standardization collaborative. And the middle column here shows the cover page of this roadmap version 2. And on this cover page, we have listed 3 categories of aircraft. The far right aircraft on the cover page here shows the large aircraft.
Excuse me, sir. This Vijay here from S&D office. Can you go to view and just expand this? Yeah, full screen mode, sir.
Display.
No, read mode. After that, you have this full screen mode. Bottom.
Oh, bottom. Okay.
Yeah, just above that. Just above that. Full screen mode.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. So this is a one-pager condensed information about 412 pages long version 2 roadmap. And I want to spend a few minutes just to talk about this cover page, which is listed on the center column here. And on this cover page, we have intentionally put 3 categories of aircraft. The far right is the large aircraft. Far left is the small UAS, Part 107 type. And in between is the flying taxis or urban air mobility UAM. And this roadmap has been considered as a major reference for UAS standards and certification by industry. And as you can see here on the left column here, little cartoon here with a bunch of gears connected together. The purpose of this graphics is to really emphasize collaboration, coordination, as well as teamwork in developing globally harmonized standards to support avoiding duplication of standardization effort. And this activity has been supported by 400 plus people coming from 250 plus organizations, and it is an ongoing effort. ANSI Standardization Collaborative is a mechanism to advance cross-sector coordination in the rapid production and compatibility of standards and conformance programs needed to support emerging and advanced technologies as well as national and global priorities. The primary mission of UAS-SC or UAS Standardization Collaborative is simply to support rapid production of needed industry standards, keeping in mind the international coordination and adaptability. The last phrase here is really to signify that all the standards communities are highly encouraged to develop globally harmonized and internationally compatible standards. So what are the achievements? We have published version 1 in 2018, version 2 in 2020, and so far ANSI has published 3 gaps progress report, 2 in 2021, 1 in June 2022. This roadmap contains thousands of standards, regulations reference, and the important message here on this slide is this roadmap has 71 open gaps with list of research exploration opportunities as well as recommendations for the standardization community. And the standardization community is comprised of STOs, standards developing organizations, or industry standards committees, research community that academia is part of, government as well as industry are part of, and then the government people, whether regulators or acquisitions and so on. So why a roadmap? There are many standards developing organizations or STOs involved in UAS integration activities. ASTM, SAE, IEEE, RTCA, ASME, UL, ISO, CES are some of them. Who are the key contributors for ANSI UAS roadmap development? So obviously the main focus is UAS industry. Just to name a few are Boeing, Lockheed Martin Corporation, Northrop Grumman, General Atomics, Airbus, Kaman, Honda, Textron, Joby, GE, Rolls-Royce, Collins, Raytheon, among others. Regulators, FAA, EASA from Europe, TCCA from Canada, ANSC from Brazil, among other civil aviation authorities or CAAs. DoD, NASA, International Civil Aviation Organizations or ICAO from United Nations, UN, technical experts, as well as other stakeholders. So the list of these bullet items are very important for all of us to apply to our daily activities that we are directly or indirectly supporting, either typical traditional aviation ecosystem or UAS-AM integration ecosystem. So UAS-SC or UAS Standardization Collaborative works to coordinate efforts of both the private and public sectors. It identifies existing standards and standards in development. It defines where gaps exist based on stakeholder needs. It recommends additional work needed, timelines for its completion, and organizations that can perform the standardization work. And final point here is it helps to inform resource allocation for standards participation, avoid duplication of effort, and drive coordinated standards activity. So the important message here is that phrase, the second last phrase on the last bullet point, which is avoid duplication of effort by doing thorough and deep analysis to identify gaps based on the available and existing resources, whether regulations or standards or technological areas. So what are the objectives of UAS-SC? The primary objective is to clarify the current and future UAS standardization landscape and enable stakeholders to better focus standards participation resources. So this point sort of, hints that we really need to avoid duplication of efforts from all sides within the aviation ecosystem, because we are very less people allocated industry sector and and the ecosystem, and we cannot support duplicative work having less people on more than one committee. And obviously the next objective is it provides a basis for coherent and coordinated US policy and technical input to regional and international audiences on this UAS standardization. And the top bullet point is, we all know collaboration and teamwork are very important, and we all have been already doing it. Summary of ANSI UAS-SC. ANSI UAS-SC is not developing standards. The standards are developed at the industry standards committees from ASTM, SAE, ISO, EuroK, IEEE, among others. The ANSI UAS-SC Roadmap version 2 is considered as a guide for developing standards needed for UAS, spanning all sizes, complexities, and operations. It is an internationally recognized and observed document. It provides the current and desired or future standardization landscape related to UAS-AIM integration. This slide shows the harmonization of UAS integration efforts. Both NC-UAS roadmap as well as industry standards committees, they are the work of industry. And NC-UAS-SC roadmap developed by NC on behalf of industry contains list of gaps, list of research explorations or research opportunities, recommendations, references, etc. And industry standards committees as well as NC-UAS roadmap, they are two important partners to support the aviation ecosystem here, to support certification and approval from the regulators. Chapter 6 in the roadmap, titled as Airworthiness Standards, grouped as Working Group or WG1, pertains to aircraft, anything airborne, aircraft and associated systems that gets installed on the aircraft. So this chapter is very heavy on avionics, digital and software solutions. As you can see here, we have different levels of autonomy, automation. We have blockchain. We have software considerations and approval. Obviously, section 6.4 avionics and system, C2 communication nav systems, voice and data recorder systems for UAS, that is commonly known as black boxes in traditional aircraft, CVR, FDR, and we are also not forgetting about the other important technological piece here is section 6.7, noise, emissions, and fuel venting or environmental requirements. That is also a significant area that a lot of us are working together, and SA has some committees, as well as section 6.2, system safety, human-machine interface and integration, as well as section 6.1, design and construction, and also to mention that remote control station, as mentioned in 6.1, we, as aviation ecosystem community, we also need to develop standards to support remote control station. Let's go to the next slide here. Chapter 7 pertains with general concerns. It is grouped as Working Group 2 or WG2. And just to name some of the few gaps or few sections here are remote ID, section 7.8, it is aligned with 14 CFR part 89, remote identification of unmanned aircraft. This is the newest part in 14 CFR system of FAA. So we have 7.7 UAS traffic management or UTM. Similarly, we have section 7.4 ops over people. It is aligned with the newest subpart D of part 107 of 14 CFR system. And this subpart is titled as operations over human beings. And then we have section 7.2, continued operational safety. We all are familiar, we are safety experts. And another section here of very significance and priority is section 7.3, titled as Beyond Visual Line of Sight or BV laws. And just early part of this year, industry and FAA worked together as part of UAS BV laws, Aviation Rulemaking Committee, and that committee published their final report in early part of this year, and that is available in FAA website. So chapter 8 deals with infrastructure inspections, environmental applications, commercial services, as well as workplace safety. So section 8.1, 8.2, and 8.3, they deal with use of small drone for vertical, linear, horizontal, as well as environmental applications. So Section 8.5 pertains to use of a small drone to use at workplace and construction sites to support safety. And Section 8.4 here is very important because this signifies, this whole Section 8.4 signifies in text the cover page, which states that all the possible use cases of drone are listed or included in this section pertaining to commercial services. So of immediate significance, value, and priority is the commercial package delivery via small UAS or Part 107 type of drone. So that is the first bullet point here. And then similarly, we have this last bullet point here, commercial sensing services, which is the commercial version of the ISR type of use cases of drone. And in this case, it can also include use of small drone as well as large drones. And after that, the next, for long-term and strategic activities that we all are working together at the industry standards committees, research community, and the government are the flying taxis, which is titled here as commercial passenger air taxi transport via UAS, in parentheses, short-haul flights carrying few passengers. And then the other two, subsections here, commercial cargo transport via UAS, that is like a air freight, bigger, not a small package. That's the heavy cargo or air freight. And similarly, we have commercial passenger transport via UAS, long-haul flights carrying many passengers. So basically, the immediate priority right now is really for us to, enable commercial services to enable this commercial package delivery via small or, small-like drones to support package delivery operations, as well as beyond visual line of sight operations or BVLOS operation. So Chapter 9 deals with the use of a small drone to support public safety as well as law enforcement community, such as police department activities, or to use a small drone in case of natural hurricane. That I think last year we had. I think last year Chennai had some hurricane, so there was there were some drones used in Chennai as part of Chennai Tamil Nadu Police Department operations. So that was a great case. That is listed in Chapter 9 here. So just to name a few are the use of a small drone to support search and rescue operation, or SAR, SAR. The other one is the Section 9.8, public safety tactical operations by using small drones. Section 9.9 is UAS detection and mitigation. It is split into two technologies. First is the UAS detection. Second is the UAS mitigation. And this is commonly known as CUAS or counter UAS. And Section 9.10 is the use of small drones for emergency management as well as natural disaster. Chapter 10 pertains to personnel training, qualification, and certification standards. It is part of Working Group 2, WG2. And these are the these are the gap areas, and the most important gap here is Section 10.7, titled as Human Factors in UAS Operations. Now I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ritesh. Let's see if there are any questions posted.